Let's see who's connecting. That works.
Grabbing my water.
Welcome, everyone. We are here for our quantum coaching session. Virginie, are you going to tell us what quantum means?
Yes, I just want to check that because we're a little before that it works on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
We're a couple minutes early, so we can give a little bit of time for people to arrive.
So we're good on Facebook.
Okay, and is YouTube working, Benoit? Can you double check?
I can tell. We're live.
I cannot see. How does it work? I can never see. Oh yes, we're live. Okay. Okay, and how do we see? Is that I would be great. Well, you tell me about the comments because I never see.
Okay, so I'll just make sure that it's a public post on Facebook. So, yes. And then make sure you shut them down.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So hi, everyone. People are arriving, I guess. Maybe.
Okay, we're public. And then make sure you shut them down.
I have no idea. I think we need to.
So if you have anything open but this, will you shut it?
Arriving, I guess. You know what?
There we go.
Cool. No. I have no idea. I think
I don't have them open.
Me neither. That's cool.
I had. It's closed. Too many windows open. There we go.
Happy Thursday, everyone. We're so happy you're here. We're just thrilled that we're going to be able to connect with you and talk about the issues that are most important to you and the issues that are really currently facing a lot of the people we're interacting with. So I'll start the introductions. My name's Rainey Highley, and I'm from Sedona, Arizona, and I'm very happy to be here.
And I'll go next. I'm Benoit LeChevallier. I'm French, based in Oakland, California. And I am super excited every time the three of us get together.
Virginie Beck-Friis, based in Paris, and so happy to be with all those beautiful beings and to share those whatever is going to come through and learning at the same time as you. We lost Benoit.
He'll be back. Come back.
So to share whatever's coming through, because I learn all the time at the same time we're having the session, because it's we have to explain, as you mentioned, Rainey, that we should explain what is quantum consciousness, quantum coaching in a very brief way. Where's Benoit? Oh, he's back. Okay,
sorry, internet issues.
Fantastic.
No worries. Well, Virginie was going to tell us about quantum because a lot of people have been asking, what's a quantum coaching session?
Yeah. So are you guys telling me about the YouTube comment if there's some, because I don't see them. So if there's any, let us know. So quantum, by definition, is like one consciousness and all connected. So it's how we're going to, without any ego, anything. Basically, we're connecting the quantum conversation and how it started. This is a whole thing. So I'm going to connect because I'm a little bit into my ego right now. So let me just shift. So
should we do a little beginning, set the space?
It's a good idea.
Oh, yes.
It's a good idea.
Please do.
Okay, so everybody who's joining us now or listening later, we're just going to ask you to take a moment to close your eyes and just begin to follow your breath inward, noticing your stomach expanding with the inhale, emptying with the exhale. And just imagine that you're bringing more light into your body with every inhale and releasing what does not serve you with every exhale, bringing so much light into your body that you begin to be surrounded with a beautiful bubble of radiant light. And we just have this beautiful protective bubble surrounding all of us individually and collectively. We invite all of our guides, masters, angels, and soul family on the other side to be with us and help us be clear and perfect channels for any information you would like to come through for the highest good of all that is. So be it, so it is. Namaste.
So let's go back to the explanation of how it all started, this quantum conversation. And it's about 1.5 years ago, I started, thinking, well, yeah, we should do like a conversation after an experience that I had with a friend of mine. So I was channeling and she was asking questions. And then it happened that after a while, we were so much connecting to each other that we were completely into hypnosis state. So it was just our higher self connecting with the higher self of the other. And that was just so cool because we were learning through the conversation because we had no idea of what question was coming through. And I was like, oh my God, I think we're having some quantum conversation. I've never heard that word before. So that was funny. And she was like, oh my God, I can feel the truth in there. Got it. And then I spoke to a friend of mine, and then I spoke to Benoit about it. And it's like, how does it work? So we started doing some healing work together with Benoit. And we all started. And then I met you, Rainey. And then we started, the three of us together, this quantum conversation. And we thought it was much more fun to do it live because we can interact with you guys. And this is so great. So we can answer your questions or anything, but we're learning at the same time as you because it's basically our higher self, which is one, but it's all. And that's going to answer maybe with different wording, but at the end it's the same essence because it's the collective consciousness that's going to come through and give you answers about how to free yourself and how to free each of us, because we can channel and get those guidance only with our level of consciousness. So if our level of consciousness is here, we might still be in some sort of ego or patterns of beliefs, but the discussion that we're going to learn are going to teach us how to, level up our level of consciousness. And that's what's really cool. It's at the same time we talk, we ask questions, we learn. We learn from one another, we learn together, and we grow together. And this is like really, really nice. So thank you, Benoit and Rainey, for being part of this journey. Thank you all for being here tonight with us. And let's see what are the first question. Do we have any questions yet? Or
actually, Virginie, I wanted to just on the word quantum itself. I think you were explaining it when you were talking about our consciousness being a part of the whole consciousness, and that's the quantum part. That's we are reuniting, we're accepting that we are part of that one consciousness. And yeah, that's it. Just to explain the word quantum itself.
Well, and I kind of think of it as like the unseen, it's like it's the unseen, it's the smallest reflection of us going infinitely smaller and smaller. It's like, how far inward can we go? That's quantum.
And the infinite possibilities.
Say again?
Infinite possibilities.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, why don't we start with the question that you were talking about earlier? We wrote these down earlier about shadow work.
We had previous question before the session that's been sent to us, and so you were saying the first one, Rainey,
was asking you about how to release resistance to shadow work, or maybe why they're feeling resistance to shadow work.
Well, I think first, do you want to explain what is shadow work, or shall I go, or do you want to?
I think you should explain it because that's really your area of specialty.
Okay, so the shadow work is basically we're going to see at all our, basically the box that is around us that limits us to be ourselves. And quite often we navigate in that box, but we don't see the wall. And because they are far, far, far away and sometimes very well hidden, and just how we're going to connect with those pain, beliefs, and patterns that are around us. It's just something that we carry sometimes, so we don't see them because they're on our back. And it's how to address it, how to remove that no longer serves us, that can put us into pain. There's someone that said today that I heard said something very interesting, is you know that you are on your mission, on your sole purpose, soul journey, when you are challenged. And that's quite interesting into this shadow work explanation. And you know you are off your path when you are suffering. So when you are suffering, when you are in pain, that means that there's a belief behind that you can shift. And that's the shadow work. When you're in pain, you can address the shadow work. The pain, the body pain, or the mind pain, like sadness, anger, or any sort of pain, will be the manifestation of the shadow work that can be addressed.
So some people ask, just to clarify, does shadow work mean that it's something hidden from your view? Or does it mean, is the shadow associated with something negative?
Can I jump in?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the way I like to approach shadow work as well, and same word, just talking about the origin of the shadow, which is the unresolved traumatic experiences, which happen early on in our life and throughout our entire life. And basically every time we don't resolve traumatic experience, we create a negative emotion. And that is what we carry, and what over time builds up in energy, in its presence in our being, and affects our beliefs and everything, beliefs, patterns. And the longer we wait, the bigger the shadow. So that's what.
So it's unresolved trauma. The unresolved feelings related to trauma.
Right. Yes, and there's something that's coming through is also that we have to be careful when we do the shadow work, because sometimes to remove some beliefs can create some new one that might not be a good one either. So it might need to be addressed afterwards again. It's just like a different shadow work, so might be more subtle also. And but the release, once we've done it, it's just like, oh, this is so cool. This is so amazing. And speaking, you were asking, Rainey, if I recall properly, about the resistance.
The question was related to understanding shadow work and releasing resistance to it.
So the resistance it's a very interesting question, because how do the resistance manifest? And here are some keys and that I like to use, and I use a lot during my coaching sessions. The keys to when you know that you resist, to address those emotions and what's behind, and how you're going to shift what no longer serves you. So there's, when you use the words "I need to do," "I have to," those are definitely resistance, and that means you are into your ego. When you use the word "but," when you want to escape, when you want to smoke, when you want to drink a glass of wine, when it's not like drinking a glass of wine because you're conscious you're sharing a meal with some friends. That's completely different. But it's just like suddenly you have the thoughts coming of, okay, I don't want to address that. I want a glass of wine, or I want a cigarette, or I want to go and run, or I want to take my bicycle, or whatever. The escape thing is like a resistance. In English or in American, you would say yes, but. And in French, is no, but.
Okay.
That's
That's hilarious.
It's true. You agree, right, Rainey? Like, yeah,
but the only difference is that in French, people say it all the time. You say, "Oh, the weather is so beautiful today." No, but.
Really?
Yes.
You say no?
Yes, they say no, but. Whatever you said, they said no, but.
So those are typically, as long as you say but or no, you hear that the person is going to address, will tell you some sort of truth, but you're in denial of the truth, and you're like, oh, that's not me at all. So that means that's a resistance. It's something that you don't want to see, and it's tough. It is tough to go and see your shadow. to address those pains, those beliefs. It is not an easy stuff because this has been your comfort zone for so long.
Well, I always have that vision of Lord of the Rings when Gandalf is like fighting the shadow dragon thing. I mean, is that what it feels like? You know, you're really having to like cut these away.
I've never seen The Lord of the Rings, so
Virginie,
I can visualize the way you say it, so I can see it, but I mean, like on a different plane, I can see it. This is very interesting because I used a very similar trick when I wanted to let go of my monkey mind. So, but letting go of the monkey mind is not the same thing as working on the shadow work. Oh, wow. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. So the monkey mind is what's going to take you to different directions, to move you away from your path. The shadow work is what is on your path, all the different barriers that you need to jump or to remove or to destroy to follow your path. So it's two different things.
Okay, so those are like, they're obstacles on your path that you need to either get over or remove.
Yeah.
Or be blocked by.
The problem of, okay, what's coming through again? If you leave those on your path and you don't address them, those obstacles, they're going to affect the next generation, and they're still affecting the generation above because it's not healed.
Ancestral lineage.
Yeah. So on karmic level and transgenerational level, it's not muted. It's not sorted out. So it's very important. Like, let's say if there's a gate, address it, demolish it, remove it. You know, kind of observe it, see what you can do with it, what you can learn from it. You know, what is this? Why there's a gate here? What do I have to learn from that? Stop that I have to stop here. I have to stop at one point. For example, if you have, for example, like business people, they do, and we see that more and more, they have burnout, right? So it's because they don't want to stop. At one point, they did too much, non-stop. So they have this burnout. This is a gate. You have to stop, to address, to rest, to see, maybe to see on the right side of the path and the left side of the path what's happening and how you can address then the gate. How are you going to open it? Do you want to just open it and leave it there? Do you want to remove it? Do you want to, you know, plant some, you know, something else? I don't know. Then that's the free will. But that's interesting, the difference between the monkey mind and the obstacle in the path.
So what would you say, Virginie, to someone who's watching, who's saying, you know, but I follow law of attraction, and law of attraction says I should only focus on like the positive things that I want to create, and this is like kind of focusing on the negative?
Wow. Can I jump on this one? I know she asked Virginie, because it's when you ask that question, it brings back to me the movie The Secret, which addresses the law of attraction. And that's the question that you ask, I believe, is relating to the one thing that was missing from that movie.
Ooh.
That which is like attracts onto itself. This is one way I know of formulating the law of attraction. It's the good and the bad, meaning that if we have not done our shadow work, we will attract all these negative things in our life.
Yes,
and even if we have done it, you may still be attracting some of it based on resonating with the collective. So you have to be like, there is some connection to the collective that draws certain things into your life.
We have to start with ourselves, and then we deal with the collective. Yes.
Yeah, but if you healed within, even though the collective will still carry it, you will not attract it anymore. But you will, by resonance, help the collective to heal also.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it will not manifest in front of you anymore.
we're really talking about all the patterns.
The positive thinking you're talking about.
Yep.
And Benoit, what you said about the secret is like absolutely correct, that they should have mentioned that. But positive thinking, I remember writing an article on that about 2 or 3 years ago. And positive thinking, be careful. First of all, there's two different positive thinking that we need to see. There's the positive thinking where, for example, let's say you're a child and you fall from your bike. I mean, that was me, like when I was like 10, 11, that was just so me. Fall from my bike, I bleed everywhere. Just like, are you okay, Virginie? Yes, I'm fine. Let's go. Like hiding, always positive, and hiding everything, all my suffering. I was hiding. All my best friend used to call me Wonder Woman, but I was hiding so much my emotions. And at one point, I got hit by a car, and I had like a near-death experience. So it's just like I was hiding so much that at one point, the universe needs to think, Virginie, just stop hiding and just let it crack, let it just go out. And that was probably one of my best gifts I had. And because that positive thinking where you suppress the emotion, where you just like play a game. Because you're not you hurt. You are allowed to be hurt. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to be in pain. Just surrender to that pain and say, okay, can you help me? Or just ask for help if you need help. And so that's one positive thinking that I think is not good for the path of anyone. Then you have the positive thinking, which is the energy. Let's say you go somewhere, and I take the example of Paris, where it's very difficult to park a car. And like, oh my God, if I go there, it's going to be impossible to find a spot for my car. And you have the positive thing. Anyway, I take my car anyway. I'll find something. I was so much into that positive thinking that I used to have people who would do some detour to fetch me because they knew that we would find a spot for the car in front of the party or in front of the restaurant. I promise you, it was just like incredible. Or they would even pick me up to drop me somewhere because they knew that after they would find a spot, or people that will call me 5 minutes before arriving at my place because they know that if they call me, they will find there's a car that's going to leave right before they arrive. So that's because it's just the energy. Okay, if it's in the flow for you to arrive on time, you will arrive on time. If it's in the flow for you to have a delay, you will have a delay.
That's the belief phase. The positive belief, I guess, in this case, and it's important to say the belief, not just the thinking. The actual belief is I'm always in the right place at the right time. Then I show up, there's a parking spot in front of the place where I'm going. Yeah. And they this other aspect of positive belief that came to me is about people who go to these big churches with those very powerful preachers who can raise a whole crowd and get everybody energized and motivated, and will go to a handicapped person in a wheelchair and then put their hands on their head, and now all of a sudden the handicapped person is going to get up. So the belief, the collective belief is so powerful that person will actually have that belief in the moment and get up and really have the energy that they never believed they had before.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if they don't really believe, they don't really anchor that belief, it will fade away, and 10 minutes later they will sit back in their wheelchair.
And then can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And Rainey, you were saying about also not addressing the negative thoughts. What I see is basically, how can I put it? It's true that into the spiritual world, and specifically, and into the in the US, because people are so positive and they are so much into this positive thinking and everything, but a lot about the suppressing one. They don't want to address negative thoughts, right?
Right.
The way I see it and what I downloaded many times is in the spiritual world. For example, you've been taught, like for many years, that this method is the right one to heal, and this is the best one because it worked for you for a moment. But the thing is, it worked during this moment where you had that level of consciousness. Maybe once you go up a level of consciousness, it doesn't work anymore. But the problem, it brings some spiritual ego, because you're going to still get attached to that belief that this is the best and only way to heal. So if we speak, for example, if you have been told that at that time you need to work on your positive thinking and that it's bad for you, which might be the case at one point in your life, to have negative thoughts, then you're going to believe forever or for a while that if you use negative thoughts, you're going to attract bad things. But mentioning, you cannot shift something. You cannot detach from something that you don't know you're attached to. So you cannot detach from a belief or pain if you don't know you are attached to it. So how can you detach from something that you never mentioned?
So then you want to observe it, but not judge it.
Well, if you judge, you're in the ego by definition. So you're not into unconditional love. So you're not into 5D. You into this mundane terrestrial world.
Well, I mean, that would be judging a positive versus a negative thought.
Yes, but in 5D, you don't have positive, negative. It doesn't exist, like correct and correct, because everything, like Benoit was saying, everything is at the right place at the right time. So it's just things that's going to be there to help you, to acknowledge, to bring some awareness to the experience so you can shift.
So maybe the people who are stuck on that need to consider that that viewpoint might need to evolve as they continue into 5D.
I think we're constantly evolving because we're not enlightened people. You know, we're learning every day, right? And our frequency are moving up every day, a little bit by bit. If we do the work, if we stay into this state of trust and love, it's just moving every day. It's just constantly evolving. I mean, we're not enlightened people yet. And maybe we will never be. And that's okay. That's part of our soul mission. Everyone is there for a reason.
So I reach that enlightened state when I meditate. And I wish I could stay in that state of being, in that peaceful state, in my, especially the peace in my mind. You know, we put that mind in the brain. It's really the whole body. But when I find that peace, then the whole rest of the body, everything feels at peace, and the judgments don't even come into the picture anymore. The only time I need to make a judgment is all of a sudden. It's like, I don't know, if the temperature gets cold, all of a sudden I will react to that instant emotion, and then I will go get a jacket, and then I'm done. But my judgment will be, oh, it's cold, I need to get a jacket. And all the judgment, but it's when I'm judging other people, then I'm starting to make judgment about other people, that I'm really projecting my own thing. And that is where I can find the best help to mirror to me what I need to be working on when I start to make judgments on other people.
Well, and
pointer for the shadow work.
Well, and just you saying, Benoit, that like the time when you feel like most alive, like I don't remember the exact word you used, but it was when you meditate. You know, that's when you feel most connected. And it's kind of like there are those, I just want to speak to those people out there who are, you know, I'm kind of the person who would love to meditate 24 hours a day. Like people ask, you know, how could you write this book about, you know, how could you download these books? And it's like, you know, I love being in that channeling state. I love being in that meditative state. It's like, that's where everything makes sense. That's where everything is clear. And it's just navigating the collective that becomes the more challenging part.
That's what we do in our life coach work. We each approach it from different perspectives based on our own personal experience, what we've learned. Like Virginie is an expert on Enneagram, and we just help people to be able to find themselves, to find their place in this world, which is challenging and chaotic. And all of this without the use of pharmaceuticals, without the use of pills, of painkillers, of antidepressants, and the whole pile of medication out there that people have access to in so many countries for free, where you can just go to the doctor, get a prescription, and then get your 80 pills for the month. That's more than 1 pill a day. And well, we are offering to work without the pills and save yourself a lot of hassle down the road from the side effects of the pill by just doing some deep inner work, finding who you are with your soul family, with Rainey, and finding, you know, what your identity is, I guess, with the Enneagram, and then doing the let's say the shadow work by identifying all the unresolved traumatic experiences, which we can all help with. I help with that too.
Well, I was just thinking it might be worthwhile for, I mean, you kind of just started that, but for each of us to say, you know, kind of the type of clients we work with and the type of work we typically do might be helpful. You want to go first?
Me?
Yeah, because you were kind of there, so I want to let you continue, right?
Yes. I'd say that's a lot of the work that I offer to do today with people is the same work that I have done for myself since I was very young. And thanks to the work that I've done with Virginie in the past year, I've been able to find a point where I believe I'm now able to share that experience with people. And my work is really, and you might have identified that from the things that I talked to, is in identifying these unresolved traumatic experiences to do soul retrieval. Retrieve all the lost soul pieces that we left in every single unresolved traumatic experiences and that are affecting our life, and where we actually pick up some, we still have soul pieces from other individuals that have been involved in those traumatic experiences that we take for our own, and that causes some identity issues. The main work is really to go to the source, find the trauma, make peace with it, and regain those part of ourselves that we've left in the back. That's the main work that I do.
How do people know if they need that? Do you know what I mean? Like, how does someone know if they need soul retrieval work, or what are they feeling in their life that would call them to you?
I would say anybody who's lost.
Yeah.
Anybody who doesn't know where they are, what's happening.
You can also be guided.
Sorry?
They can be guided to you.
Yes, they can be guided to me. And I believe that's what happens, that people find us when the time is right. And you know, we're guiding, the three of us are guiding people to each other already.
Yeah.
And then the universe does the rest. And yes, it's really anyone who feels out of place in their life and challenged with repeated negative patterns and depression is a big one, fighting in relationships, all these pretty common symptoms.
Thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure.
I know we all know these things, but it's nice to hear you say it.
It's a good exercise also to be able to express it.
Yeah, because I think it's the first time, if I may say, Benoit, that I felt like it really came through your explanation, and it was like crystal clear, and so it's great. It's really cool.
Thank you for supporting.
Bravo.
All right, who's next?
Virginie, you're next.
Rainey.
Go? Okay, let me get my. Well, I was just gonna say, because you know, you both are really great at helping people that are dealing with like tangible life things, you know, I mean, things that are happening in their life. And I think mine are a little more, the people that I draw to me are a little, they usually come to me with a spiritual request. Like I want to live in alignment with my higher mission, you know, like I'm doing everything right in life and I have everything I want, but something's missing because I'm not on my soul mission. So people come to me, they're typically, many of my clients are communicators who work with councils. Like most of my clients have a council that they talk to regularly. And so what I do is I help people understand that relationship to their group on the other side and help them develop techniques to shed societal programming, shed belief systems so that they can access and connect and nourish that channel. And then allow that source connection to be their guide in their life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also I think you can say about Rainey, I think you could say about you, Soul Family, the book, the last release.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yes. And so I am an author and I have 7 books that I've published. And my most recent one is called Soul Family, Discover Your Authentic Soul Tribe. And it was released on a master number 1111 of last year. And it has a link which you guys can get to, anybody watching this can get to findmysoultribe.com. And it's just like a 15-minute quiz that helps you connect with what your potential soul mission may be. And that's connecting with a specific soul tribe. And you will have the results emailed to you. And it's just kind of a fun thing to play with, and something that I work with a lot of my clients on is just determining who their soul family is, who their tribe is, like how does that relate to their mission, and kind of woo-woo stuff like that. But you know, that's my area.
Let's say woo-woo because they not everybody's accepted the reincarnation concept, that our soul is eternal, always has been, always is, and always will be. Where we come from is what people, not everybody's ready to receive that message because they believe that nothing will happen when they leave this body.
That to me just blows my mind. Like, it's so hard for me to grasp that people really believe that, just because, you know, when you have that connection, you know for a fact. It's like there's no one who could tell me that doesn't exist, because I know it deep, 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 right? But
and you know, we know we're just here to live an experience on Earth. You know, it's just one experience out of many.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
All right, Virginie.
Virginie.
You know how much I love that? You're addressing one of my resistance.
Perfect.
Oh, God.
Life therapy.
All right. Well, long story short, I guess I find a couple of years my mission here is to guide people to find the true self. That's to make it short. And then it took me a couple of years, I guess, before I could actually embody that mission fully and start a wish link and start the coaching people through different and numerous training. And I tend to start with the Enneagram to help you find your personality type, which allows you to find your essence, and also the limit you put to yourself, to the limit you put, well, basically to show the box you're in. And then after that, I would use the Enneagram sporadically through the coaching session. But the idea is for me not to do the work. I'm not the magic wand. I had some people who came to me, and they thought that with 1 or 2 sessions, you know, I would be a magic wand. I just give keys, and all my sessions, I just channel what's going through by connecting with a person, and whether it's one-to-one or as a collective, and see what is the best for the person that I'm coaching or the collective that I'm coaching. By using a different tool. I kind of never know what kind of tool I'm going to use. I work a lot on beliefs because it's actually quite easy when you start doing the shadow work. The keys are the same, so you can use it. Everybody can use it at their own pace, and that's what is great. Is once you know the trick and the keys, you just reproduce the keys. I mean, then you choose whether you want to open the door or not, whether you want to go to the unknown. And a big thing that I do is through this channeling is also put light to different prism and different way of saying things and observing life, observing the experience. And the shift are kind of, I had a beautiful gift today with a new client. She was like really impressed by the first session, and she was like, I've been seeing different people for like 10 years, and she was really, really happy. She was like, no one never spoke to me like that, and we need more people like you in Paris. And that was like such a beautiful gift. So it's very personal. I tend to spend a bit of time before the first session to explain how I work in one-to-one, and same thing on one-to-one, I would connect to the person to feel the need, to see whether I can help. Sometimes I say that I cannot help. Also, that happens. And as a collective, if I do teamwork, I will also connect to the team energy, to the frequency of the team. Whether it's 2 people, 5 people, whether it's couple, whether it's family. And my clients, the people that tend to come to see me, are from teenager to CEOs. So there's no limit when you want to start this journey on finding your true self. And recently I've got like new tools, which I'm having a lot of fun with.
Well, hang on, because you said something really interesting that I'm like, I want to talk about that. You were mentioning working with color and light, right? Through Prism. Did you say that? Through light? That to me is so fascinating and so powerful. And that was something that was really strong when I downloaded the water code. Is like, it's so important to really visualize yourself like saturated in certain colors, like to really become one with the color and allow the healing of the color.
What I say with the Prism, it's not only the color, it's like really like 360. It's like a whole. That's why I call quantum coaching, because it's really like the entire spectrum. It's not just Prism, and it's allowing to feel like, for example, you know what kind of color you're going to wear. That could be tips to cheer up someone, to raise their frequency, because depending on the color you're wearing, your frequency are going to move.
Yep.
What kind of color, that's one thing, but the frequency of the food you're going to eat, the people frequency of the people you're going to interact with, allowing also to shift some why certain people. For example, I had a few people ask me to this week. That was like a recurring question about separation. How do you address the pain of separation? I mean, especially right now with the COVID, a lot of people, you cannot go and see people in the hospital, or people are dying, or or like breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or this been addressed like to a abnormal number of time this week from people. And one of the person told me, okay, I got it. You need to work on detachment. They're like, yeah, how can you work? But we spoke about that previously in that talk tonight, is how can you work on detachment if you don't know you're attached to something? But attaching to, not attached because you love someone. Okay, that's a good attachment. There's always a good side and bad side on everything. So the yin and the yang are everywhere. But attached in a toxic way, that like being addicted to something.
It's dependence, right?
Yes, but you cannot detach from dependence, from being addicted to something, if you don't see that addiction. Someone that, if you look at, for example, the best example, and I can speak about it because my mom was like that, is alcoholism. Okay, and she's still actually, but she always was in denial of this pathology. So you cannot detach and go and do
in denial about being alcoholic.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You cannot detach and do the work. You're going to do this shadow work behind this. if you don't see it. So in my coaching, I will also, in different ways, in different tools, show you some of the addiction that you have that you may not have seen, so you can release, create some space, so you can get some new stuff getting, and welcome some new experience, some new connections, some new challenges, some new experiences that's going to be for your benefit. And
really shedding that, like shedding denial, because that's their block, denial.
Well, it's shedding. I love your words when you said shedding, because I think it's like peeling the onion,
right?
And at one point you see something, it's like really that we have but that's this. I know some people, like you said, Rainey, before, some people don't like the word shadow work, but this is it. And being in denial of something, it's also addressing shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the level of consciousness, we're going to be in denial. And I had this discussion, it was about a year ago, with a very dear friend of mine. He was like, yeah, but Virginie, you never mentioned that before, and you were a liar. And it was like, I was not a liar. I was in denial. I was not saying it. How can I talk to you about something that I don't see? That was not possible. And that's why, because I had a breakthrough yesterday, that I can actually speak to you about it, because I had the breakthrough. So you may see me as a liar because I didn't speak about it, but I could not speak about it. So for me, I was in my truth, but I was at that level of consciousness until I had the breakthrough. I moved up level of consciousness, and then I could see it, and then I could speak about it. I could see to the person, okay, I'm sorry, this is what I didn't see, and I'm so sorry about that.
I was going to talk about the something that I see as a paradox, that we're working on detachment from things that that come from dependence, whether it's alcohol or drugs and all of these.
Medicine, like in France, we have this huge cabinet of medicine.
Pharma, yeah, that falls under the drug category for me. And so we have those crutches that we use to feel better about ourselves, and so we attach to those, and we use them to try to detach from ourselves, from situations, from patterns, from people. And at the end of the day, when we manage to get rid of the crutch and then we make peace with the people, what I mean, the paradox is that in the end, we realize that there is no separation. We want to be detached in a world where we actually were not separated at the source, at the root.
Well, we're detaching from illusion.
I had a massive download that I didn't share, or I shared it with like 2 or 3 people only, about separation. I think what we are asked to do is really go deep down into seeing the separation. Okay, that might not be the place to say it, but okay, I think it's okay. With what's going on with the V and with the C and with all this, we might come to a point where we're going to reach this separation with 2 different teams, one for the V, one against the V. And at that point, we're going to really see the separation that will end up the duality. But if we don't see that, we cannot end up the duality and the illusion of separation, because the separation is just an illusion. So I downloaded that like a couple of days ago, I guess. Benoit, you may recall, because I think I spoke to you about it. And it's something like really deep, really, really deep, that to go through this, really seeing this separation, like that's why there's some people that's going to get out of our life, and that's going to be painful. But if we don't see it, we cannot go out of this illusion of separation. That will be the end of duality, and that will bring peace also, and freedom, and more love. Oof.
Woo! Hey, we got a comment from Rodney Dodson, who says, exactly, teach people to replace toxic narcotics with natural medicine. That's my life. Rodney does I know you do doTERRA oils, and he teaches all sorts of natural stuff. I think you're a yoga instructor, and you can tell us more about what you do, but it's so true. It's like, we're going to these man-made things that really do nothing but separate us even more or disconnect us even more, and connecting to real natural things like nature.
That's natural medicine have been around forever, since actually they were present before even humans arrived, just waiting for us to figure out how to use them. And then there's been an effort, and we don't need to go into all these things that people will call conspiracy and all. But why those big pharma create medication through chemical processes that intend to reproduce natural processes that the body already does, but by not doing, just treating symptoms and never going to the source of the problem. Anyway, it's so there is all this natural medicine that's available out there, and I'm so happy that there's people like to help.
And the food and many other things, the way we breathe, the way we act, the way we think, like the verbs, the word we are saying, they have so much power, and they have frequency. Like everything has frequency. This is something that I've been working on, and that's kind of my new tool. It's observing the frequency of words, places, people, food, and all those kind of things, and how it's going to even like work. Like you choose to your work, what is the frequency towards yours? Is it going to pull you down, or is it going to lift you up? So that's actually very interesting to look at. And there's many websites where you can look at the food is very easy. So you can definitely look at website for the frequency of food. You will see that raw food is a much higher frequency, like some nuts, but some others nuts are not. And then you've got more things like, for example, in what kind of state of mind was the person that picked the strawberries?
Exactly.
Exactly. The strawberry you're going to eat, they're going to have a low frequency. But the good thing is, with your own frequency, you can restore the original frequency of the food. So you can see some people, I do it sometime when I feel like there's something or murky, that I would put my hand on my plate and ask to restore the original frequency and to mute the food to the frequency that is good for my body. So I do it more when I'm abroad, when I have more time, or when on holiday. But
well, I think it's always important to bless our food, to bless our water, to bless everything that we ingest into our body, and just assume that, whatever its frequency is, our blessing is going to improve that frequency, which I think is true. That's step one, right? And then Rodney says, exactly. I need to have mine. You said, but Rodney says, thank you so much for spreading the truth. He agrees disconnecting from nature has been a big part of the problem. And I'll just quickly say, if you've read my book, The Water Code, it talks about the 13 chakra system, just visual, the 13 chakra system. And it talks about the lower 4 chakras have been like erased from our studies of the chakra system. We only come down to the root, and there are 4 chakras below that. There's a grounding core, there's an altar chakra, there's a boundary chakra, a base chakra. So reconnect, and they're all associated with metals of the earth: bronze, copper, silver, gold. And so it's like reconnecting with those metals of the earth and remembering those chakras and take time to energize the lower chakras makes a huge difference in our lives, because that's part of the reason. I'll just give a quick example. My flowers didn't have water for 2 months in the winter, and they freaked out, and they were like, we're dying. And they all grew all of these like sprouts coming out, going to other things in the yard, trying to get water from them, like going to other plants, other flowers, everything. So there's all of these roots everywhere. And it's like, wait a second, you know, remember that we're connected to source. We don't need to go and take it from anyone else. We are purely connected.
Well, the next one is a very good example to show the quantum system, because they all connect. Fantastic. It's a great, but the universe is, for me, is the most amazing book on earth, because you have all the answers. If you're ready to open up and to read, and see, and to feel. So yeah, very much aligned with that. And yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just to finish the analogy, it's like, you know, we're walking around like cut off, trying to get energy from everyone else instead of just re-energizing those lower chakras. And then we won't have to link on to everyone else and try. That's why there's so many energy vampires, is everyone's disconnected. Apparently, not in reality.
You were talking about the metal, and something came up to me is the recall of when we're a kid in France and UK. That's my culture. So it was drinking into a silver cup, drinking water in a silver cup, because that was clean. In India, when I went to India, that was drinking into copper. So,
yes.
And it's true that I would strongly advise, guys, don't leave you silverware in a drawer. Use it every day. Stop, using that just for like fancy dinner. Who cares about the fancy dinner? Just have fancy dinner every day.
Well, French people have a lot of silverware. I don't know if people in America have.
I use it every day. It's just like, just use it every day.
The Louvre, I mean, Paris, you guys, the Louvre is like those statues that are all crafted out of bronze, that are like of the Greek, everything. I'm like, there's so much energy contained within that metal. That
yes, but the Louvre is like energy. It's kind of,
but it holds the
ready. Have you been to the Louvre or not?
Oh, you're making it. I see. Yes. Yes.
It's beautiful, but the place itself, the energy, I'm not sure it's like the best one in Paris.
But there's some stories that need to be told in those medals. I spent 2 days in one section of the Louvre with my journal, just writing, because I was having total downloads, and I was around all of the bronze. I'm just going to say those metals are powerful. They're such conductors of energy. It is no coincidence that those important statues were carved in bronze. And baby shoes, they put them in bronze. Do you guys do that in Paris or in France? Like you preserve your baby shoes, your little children's shoes in bronze?
I haven't done it, but I was in UK at that time, so I don't know. I was in London then, so I have no idea. But
anyway, it makes you want to wear medals, Remember to wear your medals.
Yes. Well, I have this copper bracelet that I'm carrying on me, which is lined with plated with silver on the inside.
Let us see.
Well, I don't have it with me. I would have to go away. But this was a gift from my friend Mountain Eagle, who is from Paiute Washoe tribe, from the Great Basin of California and Nevada. He gifted it to me as a symbol of the work that I'm doing on integrity. And this was a gift
on integrity?
On integrity, yes. It was gifted to him by the chief of the Navajo, who makes those bracelets.
Wow.
And I have been wearing it. I wear it because we're talking about this, but I do wear this to be grounded, to stay connected to the earth, exactly. In those chakras that goes below the roots.
What work are you doing with integrity? Do you want to share?
Integrity is, that would be the summary of all the work that I really do with helping people. I help people be themselves, their true self. That's really regaining our true identity. We are all helping people find out, you're helping people find out who they are. And in a way, I guess I help people make peace with who they are and operate as their true self. And I had to go through that work myself, and made big lessons of humility, big lessons of humility, and also I had to accept to be vulnerable, to make myself vulnerable. And Virginie is helping me a lot with that.
why we connected, the three of us also, is because we have this common purpose into helping and guiding people to be authentic and to find their true self, to find their essence, to find their purpose in life, and to be happy and to be into this unconditional love, to trust themselves. I mean, all those different things that we work on every day, not only on ourselves, but with each other. We do work every day on that. And when we connected, it was just like such an evidence to just do that together. And just like flow. The minute we decided, like, I think it was like 3 days later, we started our first quantum conversation. So it's just like, it was with the flow. So I think this soul mission that we have in common, and that speaks for us, and some other people have other soul missions. So
yes, ours is about it's like shedding everything that's not authentic and just allowing the sovereign self to emerge, being in integrity with that. And of course, of divine service. Thank you so much, Beth. We appreciate your comment. Yes, those are her soul core words: integrity, sovereignty, divine service.
Yeah, sovereignty is a word that it's sometimes quite hard to use in France, because I mean, you in Sedona, Rainey, Benoit in San Francisco. So this spiritual word is much more, people are much more aware of it and much more open to it. In France, there's still a lot of resistance to that. It's like, okay, you know, with your drum and, you know, inside the living room with the fireplace.
Yeah,
and phones and you know whatever. But it's true that this is a word that I started using more and more in France, in Paris, and sometimes I can even feel my own resistance to use it. But I spoke to someone yesterday about it, saying that we need the woman and the feminine and masculine to find the sovereignty. And to be, for the woman to be the, how do you say Benoit in English? La déesse? La goddess. Yeah, sorry, thanks. So the woman needs to be the goddess again, so the man can be the king again. And because with all this hashtag Me Too and all this feminine movement and everything, sometimes it's hard. And some women are very feminine on the outside, but they're so masculine on the inside, and vice versa. Is how can you align that together? How can you align your soul and your body also to be the feminine as much as you need to be the goddess and the king, and to allow. And funny enough, we have to work on the feminine side on men and women. So the yin in on men and women, and same thing on the other side. So for some women, I have to teach them to put some more yin into them. That's why also I became a yin yoga teacher at the same time, because I had so much yang. I was so feminine on the outside. I was so masculine on the inside. Yeah, let's do it all. I can do everything. And I'm in control of everything, And then when I started to let go of the control, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." So
I was the opposite. I was like introverted writing. I was the yin person writing my books, and I'm like, I need some yang. I need some yang. And so I became a hot yoga instructor. I was like, I need more of that masculine.
Yeah, it's true. Oh my God, I did. So cool.
Yeah, in Texas, it's yin and yang.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that it's true. We had the opposite.
I know.
No, I just jump in to say I'm not a yoga instructor. I've been practicing. Actually, I learned yoga from my body. I just gonna throw that in that for anyone who wants to do some real work on themselves, it's good to start with yoga for discipline. And there's all forms of yoga out there, and yoga is a good way to start to go get in the right direction to reclaim our sovereignty.
I had a very good last yoga session I had.
Do tell. It happens in yin.
I had like a mass. I felt during the yoga class that I was attending, I felt something coming out. I was like, oh oh shit, I'm going to have a breakthrough very soon. And like 6-7 hours later, boom, breakthrough. And Benoit was writing to me, are you ready for talk, for work? Sorry, I'm processing something right now. I'm having a breakthrough. I'll call you back later. I felt so much better afterwards. That can also help a lot. It's also a key on addressing limitation, addressing a resistance. You can do some yoga because it does help to open up some stuff that you don't want to address. And the cool thing about that, which I love, is you don't see it coming.
Right.
You have this breakthrough, but you don't even need to work. I mean, yes, you do your yoga, but you don't work on it. So it's not like
right. The yoga's working on it.
Totally.
It's so true. And especially in yin, because you're like holding the posture and you're like, this is easy. I could do this forever. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, how many more minutes do we have to hold this posture? And it's like, whoa, that's when the breakthroughs start happening. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yoga means union, right?
Union.
Bringing us back in the center where we reunite masculine and feminine and become one.
It feels like you just spreading the words of the finishing of this session.
You did. It was like perfect. I was like, well, what else needs to be said? That was perfect.
Yeah. It's shifting, It's the first time I think it was Rainey, then it was me, then it's Benoit. Yeah, it's like this energy moving, and
yes,
really nice. So, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning in and connecting with us, and thank you to all of you who are tuning in later. We're just really happy to connect with you, and we're here out of our longing in our heart to be of service. That's what we're here for. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ladies.
See you soon. We'll let you know about the next flight very soon.
We will announce soon. Stay tuned. Bye, everyone.